You can hit it for me.
I got it.
There we go.
Appreciate it.
Do you want me to start the intro?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It should be. You said it should be the bottom one, right? No. Yeah.
Yep. What is up, everyone? It is Thursday Night Football. This is the inaugural episode of the Hoosier Huddle here on the ASAP Network. If you've seen me around, I'm one of the admins here on the network. You've probably seen me on Real Talk. That was my first show that I got to be a part of. And then you probably see me on Just Say the Truth. Since this is my first episode and I'm still, what they probably call wet behind the ears, they had to get me good, solid experience here as a co-host. So they brought in Dre to try to help me and make sure that I don't sink too bad. That's also why he's a Navy vet. So if I sink too far, he can fish me out. Dre, give us a background about you, sir.
Oh, but man, how we doing? Dre Montez here from St. Louis, Missouri. 15 years of talk radio, 4 years of sports and entertainment podcaster, man. Just here to just have some fun and get at it in the world of sports.
Fantastic. And then to my other side here, we got Lennon. Lennon's going to be actually a part of our production crew. He's filling in till our fanatical Giants fan joins us here in a little bit. He's still waiting on whether or not he has to do with heartbreak or celebration. So we're going to see how that turns out first. But Lennon, introduce yourself, brother.
Hey guys, I'm Lennon Crisp. I currently write. I cover the UFC. I currently been working with sports and culture media, but I'm glad to be working with you guys.
Awesome, man. So it's enough about us. We got to kind of talk about this game going on because I'll be honest with you. I'm a diehard Cowboys fan, so I have to watch a lot of NFC East games, and obviously last year the NFC East was the worst division in football. You could probably argue it's still the worst division in football. But Dre, I'm going to start with you. What has surprised you the most about this game so far?
So far with this matchup between the Giants and the Washington football team has been the lack of the D in the Washington football team's defense. With all the expectations coming in, considering what they did last year, I thought, considering last week against the Chargers and now today against the Giants, I would have seen a little bit more of a little bite in that defense. But I'm not seeing it right now. Not seeing it at all.
Yeah. What about you, Lennon? What's kind of surprised you the most so far?
I haven't got to watch much of the game tonight, but from what I've seen, I've got to agree. The Washington defense has just been terrible. I mean, just to think that a couple weeks ago they had them as the best ranked defense in the league, and now they're being considered probably one of the worst. I mean, I'm more impressed with the Giants offense. Like, Saquon's not stepped up, but everyone else has stepped up to help out him,
Yeah, I'd agree. And I'm going to be still kind of watching it while we're doing this, just so that way we have a little bit of an update. There's kind of three things that has really surprised me with this game so far. I agree with both of y'all that the Washington defense has not nearly been the same as it was last year. If we even look at the game last week against Denver, the Washington football team defense gave up a ton of yardage against Teddy Bridgewater and the Denver Broncos, not just in the passing game, but in the running game as well. And that was, both of their strong suits last year. You couldn't run the ball. You couldn't really throw the ball. And then this year it's been a complete 180. To New York's credit, their offensive line, that revamping, that retooling that they've done just from week to week has made a significant difference. Washington has been able to get to the quarterback. Daniel Jones has been sacked a few times in this game so far, but for the most part, he's had a clean pocket. He's had time to throw. He's been picking apart that defense. He's been showing why he's gone 4-0 against them in his career so far as a starter. What up, Coach? Glad that you're joining us here on the show. Oh, we finally got him. There he is. He finally been summoned.
What's going on, you guys? How you guys doing tonight?
Somebody's
doing good. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful. Doing wonderful
right now.
In a great mood tonight, gentlemen. What are we talking about?
Freddie, well, we were actually just talking. What's probably surprised you the most so far out of this game with Washington versus the New York?
Just the fact that Washington's pressure in the second half really haven't got to Daniel Jones, and Daniel Jones still able to still making big plays. And I've been hearing all week from this network, from you guys, that my Giants bad offensive line is not going to be able to run the ball against this defense. And now, don't mind me now. It might not be Saquon Barkley right now running the ball. Even though this last drive, he broke loose for a little bit. It might have been Daniel Jones. But you know what the most beautiful thing when it comes with Daniel Jones? He's not fumbling the football. He haven't thrown an interception. But yeah, because the game's still early. But,
Now,
this is just a beautiful moment. This is what us Giants fans want out of our young quarterback, Daniel Jones.
Now, Freddie, I'm gonna let you know. I don't know about you, but I'm a superstitious person. Not only do I work in medical and I've worked in EMS, but I work in the military. When you use phrases like "Oh, he hasn't done it," it's been a quiet night. You're setting.
You're 3 interceptions in a row in the last 3 minutes. Yes, yeah, that could possibly happen.
You possibly jinx yourself. Oh, okay, I see you with the jersey on. I see the numbers there on the bottom.
But here's my thing with the NFC East and being this game matchup so early in the year. Great matchup, by the way. And you've been a Cowboy fan, you've been a diehard Giants fan. This is so much of a homework game for you guys, or a homework assignment, considering you being a Cowboy fan, and whether the Giants pull this out or not. 0-2 in the NFC East is not the end of the world. But to use this game as like I said, a homework assignment, you can learn a lot from this game. What can be done with the Giants if the offensive line holds up? What the Washington football team could actually do with a quarterback that can manage the game, a la Cam Newton. But I don't know the relationship with him and Ron Rivera, if that's even an opportunity to even happen.
Yeah, we've actually talked about it on the show. I know my personal thing with Ron Rivera and Cam Newton. To me, I think the biggest thing, whether Bill Belichick and the NFL wants to come out with it or not, I think to them Cam is a liability only because of the whole vaccination thing. Whether they want to actually come out and say that or not.
Oh, yeah, we all know that's the case.
Exactly, and unfortunately, as much as I would love to see Cam go to Washington, have another potential start, and go back with Ron Rivera, I don't necessarily know if it's going to happen. He's not vaccinated. He's a potential liability of either getting other players put on the COVID list, or he himself not being there, and then Washington's just put back in the same position that they were in, if not possibly even worse, if he exposes other people. So unfortunately, I don't know if it was going to happen. I would love to see it, but I don't know if that's necessarily going to be the case.
If they pull this off, Daniel Snyder has a little bit of Jerry Jones in him. He has a little bit that's still left in him. What if he goes out and gets Cam Newton and Josh Gordon?
No,
that would be a very prolific offense.
That would be more than water cooler talk. That'd be some head scratching, because we don't know the physical condition or strengthening condition of Josh Gordon, or even the mental state of him. We just know he's been away from the game, hopefully getting the treatment that he needs. But the football ability for him to play football, that's still there, as far as we know. But going out to help a team right away, I don't know. It may be a little time and all that here, but what if they're able to pull that off, the Washington football team, bringing Cam and Josh Gordon?
And to give y'all an update, it's 26-20, and Washington is now in the red zone and just scored a touchdown. It is now tied 26-26 with 4:33 left.
Oh, you see that look? Coach looked like he did not believe you and looked at the TV himself.
Right. Hey, I don't blame him. I would too. Now, Freddie, Freddie, I'm going to ask you, because you're a Giants fan, to you, who do you think has the most to prove, or who do you think has the most to lose in this game, whatever the outcome may be?
Who has most to prove is Daniel Jones. He looked good, so far in this game. He used his leg and he came late with his arm. This offensive line held up, to a point where, he can stand in there and make great decisions. So it's him. He have a lot to prove. Okay, you're going against one of the great defense. And yes, Mike, I agree. Slayton did fumble the bag.
It's but when you 27-26 Washington. Washington took their first lead.
But if Daniel Jones just goes out here and manages the game, moves the ball, gets some good TOP, puts them in a position to either get a touchdown or get points on the board every time and not turn the ball over, I think Daniel Jones is doing his job, but it's up to the defense too to do their job too as well. You can't put that much pressure on a guy in the New York football system, so to speak. We've seen this happen with the New York football Jets and the New York football Giants when the media gets a hold of these guys.
Yeah, that's very true. I kind of agree with Freddie. I think really if Washington loses this game, to me, Washington only loses their credibility on defense. They don't really lose anything overall other than that. I mean, we know Washington is still going to be a threat defensively. They still have 4 first-rounders on that defense. They're still young. They still have a phenomenal linebacking core. Secondary, to me, has always been kind of questionable with what they have, but for their pass rushers, if you can't throw the ball, they don't really need to have the best corners and safeties. And if they can stop that run, that's all that matters. I agree with Freddie. I think out of everybody as far as lose and gain here, Daniel Jones and the Giants are the ones that have to prove this the most. If they are able to win this game, they are in the driver's seat of the NFC East, at least with Philadelphia at the current moment. Like Freddie has said this entire time, they rebuilt themselves in the offseason. They have a defense they spent money on. They've drafted well on the defensive side. They went out and they got Daniel Jones all sorts of different weapons with Kadarius Toney. They got Kenny Galladay. They still have Slayton and Shepard. To me, both solid number 2 and 3 receivers with the slot. And honestly, I've been saying it for the last couple of days. I think the Giants have the best secondary, and I didn't even mention Jabril Peppers or Xavier McKinney, both very talented safeties there in that back end. So to me, because to me, at least through tonight's game, the Giants defense has taken a step back. And again, I don't know if maybe that's a little bit of rust just because it is still the second game of the season or not. But watching both teams, this has kind of been a defensive disappointment to me. I expected it to be kind of a lower scoring game than what it is. Both teams really, even when the offenses haven't been that great, have still really been able to push the ball, probably in ways that we didn't really expect them to be able to push. But to me, I think the Giants, credibility-wise, and whether or not they are actually going to be a perennial division contender is going to be the big thing that comes out of this, whether they win or lose.
I think the Giants might try to put a Belichick Patriots twist on this and have a positive outlook on this loss, because look at what they've learned about Daniel Jones. They learned a lot in this game. I say the 2 games, they've learned a lot about what they can do and what they cannot do and what he is capable of doing with protection or under pressure.
That's true. All righty. Let's see. We're going to go back here. I think
that's a beautiful throw.
Mm-hmm.
I want to rebuttal what Mike said. Mike, that's not true. Daniel Jones is in the worse position than Heinicke. Daniel Jones is not in the same position as Heinicke is. Let's just be honest. Daniel Jones, this is the first time I've seen this offensive line hold up as long as it have. Let's just be honest. This is the Achilles heel that the Giants have year in, year out. But this is a little hope that we've seen this offensive line hold up just enough time where Jones can make plays. So, and Washington have an elite defense is just not showing.
Yeah, that's very true. And I would honestly say Heinicke is not nearly as bad of a position as Jones is in, because you look at Jones. Jones has that unfortunate burden of being a first-round pick. So there's a lot expected out of you whenever you become a first-round pick. You're expected to be able to lead a franchise. You're expected to be able to get those wins. You're expected to be able to do everything with basically nothing. Now, as much as Freddie is going to probably love this, and I hate to say it, Daniel Jones hasn't gotten a lot of help over the years. Eli Manning didn't get a lot of help even towards the end of his career. He did not have a good offensive line. He did not have good weapons to throw to. He had Odell Beckham Jr., and that's pretty much it. And Eli Manning loved his tight ends. They did not have a tight end for him. They got Ingram. There was never really a connection with Ingram. Ingram is one of those, to me, he is underperformed in every way because of the talent that he has, as well as he is injury prone. Then they go out, they get Barkley as the running back, and that's really one of the first real weapons that Daniel Jones has had. But again, the same thing. They don't have an offensive line to be able to go. So to me, Jones is under significantly more pressure than Heinicke. Heinicke has been a journeyman. I remember watching him in Minnesota in a preseason drive, and then he got cut. I mean, we all heard the story last year. He was their COVID quarantine backup quarterback taking classes and then gets called for a playoff game. So to me, Jones is under significantly more pressure. And really to me, and I know it's bad to say, I would almost say he's kind of playing for his football career just in this week 2 game right now. Now, Freddie, hold on before you go into that. I say that
I'm talking about what the heck my team is doing right now, man. They hunting. Stupid to me.
I'd say I almost thought Freddie thought I was crazy when I said he's kind of playing for his football career. Because to me, he is. I mean, he's going into year 3 now. Again, wait, did they score another touchdown, or is that the first one?
That's the first one.
Okay, that's the first one. You know, he's progressed in some manners, but he hasn't in others. You know, he's only won 8 games out of 27 starts that he's been in, now 28. Jury's still out on whether or not this is going to be a win for them or not. And he's turned the ball over 40 times. You know, for most NFL franchises, okay, you might be our backup, but how much are you going to trust this kid to be your backup if he needs to be signed, especially for a organization that maybe their quarterback is injury prone or they want a solidified backup position to come into this. Now, Freddie, I got to ask, from what you've seen so far with Saquon in Denver and now with Washington, what do you expect out of Saquon coming up in this next game against Atlanta?
I expect him to show us that he's Saquon Barkley. People need to pump the brakes just a touch. This is the Washington defense. You know, the front 4 is legit. I mean, we see that. I've seen Saquon break out for a few times, and he still looks explosive. So I mean, I'm not disappointed. I mean, I expected I've seen what I expected. I mean, so second game back from a major injury that he came from. So I mean, he still looking explosive. So yeah.
I mean, you look at these games when it's in your own conference as well as out of conference games. It's more as, look, we need to work on this. We need to do this better. Because I think in the NFC East, when it comes to those head-to-head conference games, I think that's a little bit harder on each other, especially in the NFC East, because it's been up in the air for so many years, as we talked about a little bit before we started, especially with the Giants and the Washington football team and the Cowboys. Those 3 right there, it's always something going up against the grain when all 3 of those teams face each other.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I actually had a guy who kind of, when I was first getting into sports, he kind of taught me about that. He said, it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter how good of a team you are. Any divisional game that you go into on any given Sunday, and it looks like the Giants just got the first interception. From Bradbury.
That was a big interception.
And they're basically in red zone opportunity right now. So if the Giants can capitalize,
all we need is a field goal. Run the clock down. Get a field goal. Hey, New York, stand up. New York, stand up.
You need them.
But no, I mean, you look at these divisional games, and we're seeing it right now. These divisional games are probably some of the best games that you'll watch as far as football goes, because these are teams, they play each other 2 times a year. They know each other better than any other team in the conference or outside the conference is going to know each other, and they're going to give you the hardest fight that you are ever going to have. And
no
to your credit,
in these matchups, none at all.
And to your credit, Dre, and I would even throw the Eagles in there again. Even as bad as the NFC East has been for the last couple of years, these are teams that it doesn't matter. They're going to be in a dog fight with each other to the last game of the season, and it happens every single year. Every season, the very last game of this year for the NFC East always ends up being for the NFC East championship. It's probably one of the favorite things about this division. It hasn't had a back-to-back repeat since 2006.
And it's the most comical conference in the NFL ever.
Oh, for sure.
And it's the most talked about.
Exactly. And it's the only, and for people who don't know this, it's the only division in the NFL. Every single team has won at least 1 Super Bowl. There's no other division that has even come close.
My Giants have won 4.
My
Giants have won 4.
Okay, you won 4. Dallas has won 5. Washington has won 3. Philly has won 1.
It's been so long since the last time the Cowboys even smelled it.
It's been long since y'all won a division. It's been 10 years.
Hey, I'm just happy right now.
You were in middle
Last time
school when the
Cowboys
Giants
won.
last
There's no
won their
satellite.
division.
Hey, I'm just so happy right now. If Daniel Jones and this Giants offense, if they maintain to make the right plays, get timely first downs, hey, we can take this game.
But if they don't do that and still try to do that, but lose, come up short, you still can't be that upset because it is a divisional game. It is a rival. It is early in the year.
And I would say
got to
this.
figure out the kinks on that offensive line.
And I would say this too, Freddie, because you've been bringing it up even from last year as far as the competitiveness that the Giants have had, even with like the eventual Super Bowl champion, the Buccaneers. The Giants have been competitive this whole game. As far as looking at Daniel Jones, like you said, you can't really ask for a cleaner game. He hasn't fumbled, hasn't thrown an interception.
Now I'm gonna tell you one thing I am disappointed in though, Tony, about my team, and it's this defense because I was real high on this defense, and this defense to me they wasn't able to get enough pressure on Hideki that I thought they should have been able to. They have not been able. They've not been able to stop the run at times. They did let one big throw go in, but I mean, that's football. But at the end of the day, I need my Giants defense do need to tighten up in order for this team to win. To win ball games.
And I was actually talking to Dre about that earlier. Dre and I were talking about that. The fact that to me, really, I mean, you heard my score prediction both earlier today and yesterday. I did not expect this to be this as high scoring of a game from either team. I expected this to be way more of a defensive shootout than what it has been. Washington's defense hasn't really stepped up, and like you said, the Giants' defense hasn't really stepped up either.
It's going to be a kicker's game.
Yeah, this is going to be definitely a kicker's game, and I think this is going to be one of those games. Whoever has the ball last and is able to effectively, because they've both, for the most part, been able to move it pretty well on each other. So it's just whoever has it last and who's ever able to finish.
I would say the Giants defense will step up last 2 minutes of the game. Don't make Heineke, and it's good. Don't make Heineke look like he's Tom Brady. Don't make him think he's Patrick Mahomes. I mean, stop it. I mean, let's pump the brakes. Just a touch. Giants, New York, stand up. I mean, don't make this dude look like he's Tom Brady. I mean, stop. I mean, no. I mean, and what I tell you, I predicted the score to be higher than all y'all did. I said the Giants was going to score 30 points, and guess what? We 1 point away. But I did say that the Washington would score 17. So
that's very true. That's very true.
I'll tell you this though, I think week 14 or week 15, they're going to come back to this game. Someone's going to come back to this game. One of these teams learned something by this loss or by this win. It's going to perpetuate the conversation in week 14 and week 15.
Yeah, John, that was a big loss. That was a big loss for our Giants. He come in, and they shuffled up the offensive line, and for him to come out and break, whatever it is, that's a tough blow for the Giants. And I will say this gives me hope.
See, that's what I'm saying. You treat this like the Patriots are treating Mac Jones. They're treating that like, look, even though we lost that game, look at what we've learned. Look at what we can do. Now this kid can drive the car you're about to give him the keys to without insurance that weekend. You feel a whole lot better because now he can drive.
Now, my question for both of y'all, does this change either of y'all's prediction for who you think is going to win the NFC East?
I need to see it a few more games. I need to see the Giants. I need to see this defense,
I need to see the Cowboys a couple more times. I already got the Washington football team winning this division.
Really?
I don't know about this after the night and seeing what we did with the Chargers because, the Chargers
week two,
ate them up as well.
We learned a lot. Back to the drawing board. Let's go back in this room. Nobody gets a day off tomorrow. We're going to come in here and watch some film. We're going to learn something about each other and what we learned from these losses and these wins on each play or drive or possession or a half, whatever. They're going to figure this out.
Now, Freddie, I'll counter that too, though. The Chargers are a good football team. We saw it last year with Justin Herbert. He, as a rookie sensation, came out of the gate. Nobody expected it. They have probably one of the best wide receiver core. Williams is a little bit questionable to me as far as a number 2. He is definitely underperformed compared to the other wide receivers in his draft class with him. But, I mean, Austin Eckler performed extremely well for them. Their offensive line was revamped, has held up. And defensively, did you notice who they got for their head coach? They got Brandon Staley. He was the defensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Rams and that number 1 defense last year. So that imprint has definitely been made there in Los Angeles for that Chargers team.
Yeah, I understand that, Tony. But at the end of the day, when people brag and and all that about how elite this defense is, they threw the ball over this Washington defense. And for you to let Daniel Jones, who had so many question marks to a lot of folks, come in here and make big plays, run all over you, that is a question mark. That is a problem. I mean,
but if you want to make that same argument, though, I mean, even if you look at them last year when they had a perennial defense, they still lost 9 games.
Because he was going against the grain. When you go to what the defense is giving you and you have that football high IQ, you can get those reads right off the bat on that play that he ran when he tucked it in because the check down didn't go right.
all
Or
right,
the red zone
gentlemen, 3rd and 8.
when the running back didn't do the circle. He went out too far. Danny Dimes kept the ball. But last year, he would have thrown that ball. You got to learn how to take what the defense is giving you.
Mm-hmm. And I will say too, like we've kind of been talking about so far, Daniel Jones has been smart with the ball. He's been like Dre said, he's been a lot smarter, at least this game, than he was, I would say, the first game, and definitely smarter than he was last year. Because like Dre said, I could have easily seen Daniel Jones forcing a lot of throws that didn't necessarily need to be there, a lot of throws that he couldn't make. Now, to Freddie's point, that may also be because he has some better weapons. He has Kenny Galladay, which is supposed to be the true number 1. He's going to get a lot more attention than Darius Slayton and Sterling Shepard are, whereas they probably would have gotten more attention because they were the number 1 and the number 2. They do have Kyle Rudolph, which, at least for this game, has proven he's still got a little bit left in the tank. I didn't think it was possible. To me, I always get skeptical whenever you have those players. They've been with the organization forever. Like when Jason Witten went to the Raiders, and the Raiders were like, "We're starting Jason Witten." I'm like, "What is wrong with y'all?"
He was packing stacks and getting that retirement bonus ready. He was ready for television right away. We understand that plan.
Exactly. I was like, even as a Dallas fan, I'm like, "What are y'all signing him for?" Like he didn't do anything for us before he retired and went into the booth. Like a year, 2 years before he went into the booth, he wasn't really the tight end that we used to know.
Right.
Comes back, he becomes a fumble machine all of a sudden, which is crazy because he hardly ever fumbled when he was before that. And then he goes to the Raiders. They're like, okay, we got Darren Waller, we got Jason Witten. Let's go.
He gets you that first down on 3rd and 5 anytime.
Oh, 100% good third.
I need my defense to step up right here, gentlemen.
You got that short curl,
right now, big fella.
That short curl route for that security blanket for that first down. Yes, sir. Throw it to Jason Witten. He will fall down on that first down line every time.
See, teams like the Giants this year, the Washington football team, I even throw in the New Orleans Saints. If I was all of these guys, quarterback coach, their guru, I would tell them to watch the year that Trent Dilfer won the Super Bowl.
With a good
he didn't
defense.
do too much. He did what the defense gave him, and he understood what his defensive squad could do.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do more than what we asked you to do.
Yeah.
It's 1st and 10. It's not 1st and 15.
No.
And if more quarterbacks go with that and just take what the defense is giving them instead of trying to do what the media wants them to do, what the fans are trying to tell them to do, or what the expectations of fantasy football and the Vegas line is telling you to do. Go off what the defense is giving you.
Yep. Yeah, and in all honesty, I mean, I know a lot of times too, they always want to see these guys that make, the deep throws for, the big games. That's not always a good thing though, because
it's not.
Because you look at Kansas City, yeah, Patrick Mahomes could throw an 80-yard bomb to Tyreek Hill. He's going to get behind you and he's going to get a walk-off touchdown in 15 seconds. But then your defense has got to be out there for another 10, 15 minutes. I mean, your defense is going to get worn out. That's one of the things I'll give Peyton Manning for all the years he was in the league. If there is anything Peyton Manning was good at, he was great at keeping his defense off the field. So that way they can possession. Yeah. Exactly.
Hey, John Schultz. Yeah, I am. When you said that, I did look at my phone because I said, man, because I'm watching the game as I do the show. And I'm like, man, did something change? Like, am I behind? Like, you got me scared and everything. It's a big game tonight, man.
I got it streaming right now. It's they're close.
I just need the defense to hold up.
27-29. Washington is right about at the 49-yard line with 34 seconds left and one timeout. trying to get in field goal range.
Tick.
Oh yeah, they're checking down. They're killing time. They're trying to make sure that they get in the field
Where's
goal range.
Alex Smith when you lead him? When you need him right now? Where's Alex at?
Now, prime Alex Smith, because last year's Alex Smith was not the Alex Smith that we remember.
Man, he was the Bionic Man and RoboCop all in one. I'm amazed that man made it on the field. The NFL, the league, the Washington football team, all quarterbacks in America need to give that man a pat on the ass.
Very, very true.
He did a phenomenal job.
Him and I don't know. Did you see the Florida State quarterback, Dre, that had kind of the similar issue?
I don't understand how these guys are walking and the desire to get back out there. No.
That to me, I had a man tell me that the power of your mind is so incredible that it can bring you back from so many different things. And for these dudes, that just gives you a testament into how much willpower that they have. That they're like, no, like you said,
thing as give up, and no such thing as I can't do that. Yeah, you
exactly.
Can, and no, you won't give up.
Yeah, like Alex Smith, potentially deadly infection from one of those legs.
Didn't even almost died, man.
Almost died. They probably almost wanted to amputate the leg, to be honest with you.
He almost lost his leg and he almost died from the blood clot. Yeah, that was something else, man. That was something else.
Yeah, let's keep it going.
Can the season be decided by week 2 in the NFC East? Wow.
No, because even when you have good teams, no. And I would say you can't really do that for any division, to be honest with you. Because
that's what's so comical about the NFC East. They talk about Super Bowl predictions every week concerning one of these teams in the NFC East. Every time. One of these teams win, it's a big ordeal. One of them losing, it's like the most horrific thing ever to happen in sports.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've never kind of understood that either because even before the NFC East became bad, the NFC East was always one of those divisions, for 2009.
Cowboy fans did this.
Yeah, 2009. 2009, for example, you look at the Saints, 13-0, and who was their first loss to? A 7-5 Dallas team of all teams, and it was in New York. Yeah, so it's crazy at how people look at this division, but again, it's also crazy how this division kind of shoots themselves in the foot. So. Yeah, John, you might be right. They better spike this ball. They got 9 seconds left.
Do they do this in practice to work on this? Come on, what's the hurry up?
Oh, they're going to review and see if that was actually a catch or not, as far as field position goes.
That's way to get two play calls in there. Good job.
Oh, yep, he secured the ball. He's got knee down, complete control all the way through. That's a catch. I don't know if they can. That's got to be clear. There's got to be something really clear there for them to try to reverse.
I will say this. That Daniel Jones run was a touchdown. That was a bad call by the referee.
That was a horrible call.
Very much. I've noticed that with
the passer. That was horrible.
That was another terrible, and especially if you saw the Jonathan Allen sack against Daniel Jones, he picked him up and slammed him on the ground, and nothing. Chase Young does it probably textbook way that the NFL wants, and they're like, no, here, go ahead, and here's this penalty marker.
They want a semi-truck with a full load to stop on a dime. That's what they're trying to do. But they're treating the roughing the passer like Major League Baseball and Little League Baseball treat leaning into the pitch. That's what they're doing. That's the new lean into the pitch right now, the roughing the pass. It's so easy to get that as a quarterback, and that's field position. That's taking the momentum away from the defense when they think they're doing their job, especially when they look at the instant replay. It is not as severe as we think it is.
Well, they just spiked the ball. There's 5 seconds left. And now Washington is bringing out the field goal unit with Dustin Hopkins.
You okay with that, coach? You gonna be all right?
I think Freddie's probably going to be quiet for the next couple minutes while we figure out whether or not this is going to happen.
Yeah, they'll make it. I mean, they're too close down there into the.
And I don't trust NFL kickers for nothing.
We've seen it's like, oh, they got it, and then they miss. It's a 48-yarder.
Kicker, none of it.
Kick is off, and he missed it.
He did?
He missed it. The Giants win 29-20. Oh, there's a flag, though.
Wow.
And apparently Heineke's pointing at not Washington, at New York.
Wow.
Damn.
Hopkins is going to get another shot to go for it.
Holy Toledo.
Wow. John's saying they made it, and who's 0-2, but I don't. What was the call? Oh, it was encroachment by the defense.
Oh, my goodness.
So that gives them an automatic first down because it was 3rd and 4.
Dumb, man.
So that'll make it a 43-yard field goal.
That comes with discipline. If you can't make a 43-yard field goal, do not come in the locker room.
The Giants gave the game up, man. That right there shows.
Oh man, Mike is gonna have a field day with
You
this.
lose
If
a game
Hopkins
in the
makes it,
final 5 seconds. Come on now.
and he made it. Washington wins 30-29.
But you know what? Let me speak on this. No, Mike, I'm not gonna hold this L. This right here, Washington celebrated. New York should celebrate as well. This right here shows me improvement with my New York Giants. My offensive line has gotten better. So you know what? Hey, I'm happy. I seen progression in Daniel Jones. I seen Daniel Jones stand in the pocket, make plays. You know what? You talk about Daniel Jones all you want. I don't care, Mike. He showed. You know what? He showed me that he is capable to be a quarterback if the Giants put the right pieces around him. If this O-line levels out, this dude can make big plays. So I you know what? I'm not upset about this game.
Now,
There you go.
now, Freddie,
Freddie,
I'm gonna be honest with you. I've been objective this whole entire time, but I'm not gonna let you get away with that because you did not let my Dallas Cowboys get away with that against the Super Bowl champ Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the same thing, lost them for 2 points. There is no victory in moral victories. You did not.
Well, it's different when it came to the Cowboys, Tony. Your team. Here we go. Let's be. If you want to be honest, that could have been a blowout. If you be honest, if those turnovers that Brady them through did not, they would come in the test. It would have been a blowout. So Mike, why you want to talk win a game first, then you can talk. You hold your L too.
Shots fired.
We'll both hold them together.
So I'm just saying though. I expected Dallas to be a blowout, but the fact that they also overperformed and overachieved than what probably was expected is also a surprise. But I'm still not going to let you have that moral victory, though, Freddie. Even though the
Dallas
Giants
has a moral victory too. You didn't expect Dak to do that.
No, not at all.
You didn't expect Zeke not to do that.
Also true.
Now you know what you got to do on defense when it comes up there to those linebackers and that defensive line.
Exactly.
Now you got to attack that.
Exactly. So I will say though, this is a better matchup. This was a better game than what I initially thought when I first saw it on the schedule. And when Freddie told me that I was going to start my show, I was like, this might be a little bit of a rough one because it's Washington versus New York. I was like, I don't know how much good is going to come out of this game, or is this just going to be one of those like redheaded stepchild type games? Like, man, this is bad. Like, I don't know how I feel about this game, but I will say this game really didn't disappoint. Obviously, like any game, there's a couple just really bad calls that were like, I don't know about that one, but it ended in probably one of the best fashions. I will say from week one, I don't think there was a bad game unless you count the Philly versus Atlanta, but I don't think a whole lot of people saw that unless you're a Falcons or Eagles fan.
I watched that game, and that game I don't understand what's going on with the Atlanta Falcons. They need a therapist. They need their own television show. They need someone to explain to them what has happened. Since halftime of that Super Bowl, something has went wrong.
And it's sad because you tell me what you think, Dre, on it, because I have a buddy that's from Georgia and loves the Falcons. But like you said, ever since that halftime of the Super Bowl, they offensively, how often has the Falcons been able to compete with anybody in the NFL when they had Julio, when they had a running game, and they had Calvin Ridley and whoever they're throwing in at tight end, and then Matt Ryan at the quarterback? They could compete with any team in the league offensively with no issue. But
his nickname is Matty Ice. But now what is? I don't know what has happened to that team. They had all the intangibles you need. They had a special team, the defense, offensive line, secondary, a quarterback. They had backup people that can get in there and perform and put up points to sustain the victory or hold on to somebody come out of the locker room.
Mm-hmm.
But something happened at halftime with that team, and nobody that's talking that has left that organization since then. It's like, oh, mum's the word. They're like Major League Baseball players. They don't want to tell you nothing to 10 years later.
And honestly, it's bad to say even from the first game of the season. I think Atlanta, unfortunately, is in a rebuild mode that they don't want to admit. I think as bad as it sounds, and like you said, Dre, his name was Matty Ice for a reason, and statistically, he's still a great quarterback. But I think his time in Atlanta is done. There is something there in that organization. There is something mentally just blocking them from them, and literally they're beating themselves from having any type of success and competing in this league. I think it's time for them to cut their losses with Matt Ryan. I think he's under contract for 2 more years, and he's still a pretty big dead cap hit. I think after this season, you move on from Matt Ryan. You have Calvin Ridley. You have Kyle Pitts. Defensively, there's still a lot of question marks. Offensive line, there's a little bit of question marks, and they need a run game. But I think it's time for Matty Ice to find a new home.
I think it's time to get fitted for a sideline blazer.
Yes.
Ready to hold that microphone and do some live reporting for the NFL. That's what I see in his future. But it happened so fast and right in front of our eyes, like when Drew Brees got old in the middle of a game. In the middle of the game, Drew Brees literally got old. And I don't want to see that happen to Matty Ice, but it looked like it's going to happen irregardless.
Well, and we saw it too with Peyton Manning. I mean, look at that last year he was in Denver. That was not the Peyton Manning that we were used to seeing. Even rookie year Peyton Manning was better than the last year Peyton Manning was actually playing football in the NFL.
I don't know if you saw the interview with him on HBO Sports with him and Bob Costas, but he let loose about that whole neck injury with Denver, getting a second opinion, having the surgery done, and choosing to come back. But it was so severe. Only person he threw with was his dad and his wife. He didn't want to be around a team. He didn't want nobody seeing him in that state of mind. So he could barely throw the ball. It was that severe and that bad. And a lot of players have these type of injuries. They keep saying, well, I'm going to put it off.
Mm-hmm.
Wait. And some can't wait. We need to do this right now. But we want the team to win. We need you on the field. We need you to do this and that.
Mm-hmm.
And they push it off. And by the time they decide to do it, this could be a season-ending surgery I'm having.
Or even a career ender, because I would say look at Cam Newton. Cam Newton delayed that shoulder surgery for a long time, and there's a lot of people still say that's possibly why Cam Newton may not be playing right now, because that shoulder has not been the same since he hurt it.
There have been a lot of quarterbacks that had early injuries in the 70s that learned something, how to change their throw, their trajectory on the ball to last a little longer in the league. And I think if a lot of quarterbacks could learn that technique, they can go on with their longevity playing football. Yeah, you can't stretch the field with a 70-yard throw no more, but you can still get the ball down the field where it needs to be.
Mm-hmm. I'd agree.
Arm strength or talent and arm smartness goes a long way.
Very much so. Well, gents, I think that's just about all we can do as far as the Thursday night football recap.
Let me answer this question. Isaiah, how about my Giants? Like I said before, my Giants showed promise. I'm happy to be a Giants fan. About doggone time this offensive line hold up. We finally seen Daniel Jones be a valuable quarterback, get his guys open. Shepard, Galladay, Slayton. If Slayton would have caught that touchdown, wide open touchdown. Let's not forget Daniel Jones ran it in for a TD, but a bad officiating. Let's not forget about that as well. Yes, my defense do need work. They do need to get better, but I believe, they will get better. I believe as time goes on, no, Shepard did not have -9 yards. No,
Shepard had a good game.
Yeah, he had a good game. But this team showed me promise, and I'm happy about it. He had 94 yards, 9 receptions for 94 yards.
Not bad at all.
Not bad at all. I just looked it up, John.
They just didn't win.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. You know what I'm saying? You didn't fail my class. You just didn't pass, but you did well. That's what teachers told kids back in the day. But still, with the Giants and the Cowboys, I still see nothing wrong with the Giants' 2 games and the Cowboys' first game. I don't see nothing like panic mode.
And let's not forget the Cowboys can go 0-2 Sunday as well.
What's that?
That's very possible.
Cowboys could go 0-2 Sunday as well, going against that Charger team.
Hey, that's what. Hey, right there. And this, speaking of those Chargers, this is the first time they're using a playbook designed for him instead of doing sandlot plays prior to each and every game, because they were using Tyrod Taylor's playbook like half of the year for him. So now he's finally getting plays that are suitable for him. Yeah, he's more comfortable with, because a lot of those were called at the line last year, a la Peyton Manning called off the defense that they were facing.
Right. Now speaking of, since Thursday night is over, and I think we've talked about just about everything we can for this Thursday night, Dre, what game are you most excited to see this coming Sunday, or even Monday night?
Monday night game is Green Bay and Detroit, right?
Yes, sir.
Green Bay and Detroit. I want to see, because I think Aaron Rodgers is the biggest actor in Hollywood. The guy knows how to sell tickets. He knows how to get the puppy eyes from the women and from the over 30 male football fans. He knows how to do that. Whether he's saying RELAX, whatever, any of that, the way he's wearing his hair right now, these hidden messages and subliminal messages on Instagram, this guy is acting his butt off. He's doing this for a reason, for attention span. But Detroit, I think Detroit is going to give Green Bay a tougher game than life itself. I got Detroit winning this game on Monday night.
Wow. Freddie, what about you, sir?
I got to go to the Las Vegas Raiders and the Pittsburgh Steelers. We've seen Pittsburgh go against the Bills.
How they win that game, I would never know.
We've seen the Bills go against Pittsburgh on Sunday, and Pittsburgh offense could not get going, but their defense is still elite. Made Josh Allen look horrible last Sunday, and Pittsburgh was able to win the game. And we saw Monday one of the greatest Monday Night Football games we've seen in a while. But we also seen Derek Carr go against Baltimore's defense and able to make big plays down the stretch. And I'm just trying to see. Is Oakland. I keep saying Oakland. Is the Raiders still the team? Is Derek Carr will still be able to make big time plays going against Pittsburgh defense? And what if Pittsburgh offense look like as well? Hey, don't worry about my team. Hey, my team good. We good. I'm happy. My team showed promise. Daniel Jones finally showed that he's a quarterback.
Yeah. They panned the camera on Big Ben Sunday. Right. It looked like in the second quarter, Big Ben had that look on his face like, did I make the right decision in coming back to play football?
Right.
He looked out in the second quarter. They panned the camera on the Pittsburgh sideline. And Big Ben looked like, did I make the right choice here? But I still don't know how Pittsburgh won that game. And I watched that game twice. I still don't know what happened.
I think that was one of those that was purely by defensively, the Steelers had a better game, and offensively, the Bills were just rusty more than anything.
I think they were out there kicking it with the Bills Mafia in the parking lot, which is
very much so. I will say there's two games I'm excited to see, and actually there is a third. My third game I'm most excited to see, I agree with you, Dre. I want to see, mainly just because the Lions gave the 49ers such a run for their money with like 2 minutes left in the game. They gave them
38-10 at one point.
Very close, yeah. Or it was like 38-25 at one point, even with about a minute and a half left. And Detroit was able to come back and get it to as close as it was. The second, I would say, is the Rams versus the Colts. I want to see how that Colts defense rebounds after basically being torched by Russell Wilson. And I want to see if Carson Wentz is able to finally kind of make things stick a little better now that he's got a game under his belt. He's got another full week of practice with the first string reps. And then, of course, I am going to be a little biased here. I want to see what Dallas does against the Chargers. I mean, I think that's going to be one of those. I think that could very well be a blowout, not a blowout, a shootout between both teams. And I think that's going to be one of those whoever has the ball last, because obviously that's how it was with Tampa Bay. Who had the ball last? Tampa Bay. And they're the reason why they won.
Ball over 40 times and Zeke has less than 10 carries. It's going to be a long season for the Cowboys.
Unfortunately, as much as I hate to agree that I think that is going to be the case, I think while Dallas is still kind of having that offensive line issues because of Zach Martin being out, because of Lyle Collins being out, Like you said, if Zeke has anything less than 10 carries, I'm going to say he has about 8 to 9 carries for maybe about 50 yards, if that. And then I think Dak is going to probably throw about 40 to 45 times for about 370.
And that's
For-
the problem.
Dallas gives it away that they've given up on the run play. It's going to be a long day. Long day.
Yeah, and it's sad because that you look at it, statistically Dak has been great, but a lot of those have been garbage time stats. Now the only one that hasn't was that last Thursday night game. That wasn't garbage time. That was just Dak being Dak. But unfortunately, a lot of these games they get down 35-14 by halftime.
You got to throw it.
Yeah, you have to. There is no running it because you're not going to be able to catch up because the other team's scoring on you left and right already to start with.
Yep.
All righty, gents. Well, anything else you want to take away from tonight's game? Anything that you guys are excited to see for week 2?
No, just pretty much what we said. And man, hey, my Giants will be better than that next week. Get better for Atlanta. Take care of business.
Now, Freddie, I will warn you, you're going to have a lot of
people
people coming for you this week.
Moral victory, more than life itself tomorrow throughout radio and television.
Yep.
Nah, John, I'm saving my LeBron takes for when season starts.
Yeah, don't worry though. He'll sneak it in kind of here and there, but yeah, LeBron's not really a focus.
I'm a Lakers fan too.
It's football.
Hey, you a good man. You know what? You're a good man, Dre. You're a good man.
Appreciate it, Coach.
All right, ladies and gents. So this has been the Hoosier Huddle. I'd like to thank Dre for coming on with me, being my co-host, being fantastic, helping save me from drowning in my own water. Freddie, want to thank you for being on here. And Freddie, good take on you. You were unbiased with your Giants. You were a good sport about this.
I'm always unbiased.
You handled it well. I thought you were gonna be crying. I thought I was gonna see a jersey ripped.
I
a Giants dog getting ripped down or something.
Hey, shout out to the production man, Lennon on production. Shout out to him as well.
Yeah, he did. He did great
Yeah,
tonight.
appreciate it.
Excited. This is the first of many episodes this coming season. Next week we got the Panthers and the Texans.
Oh, that's gonna be a good one.
I say, yeah, I don't know how to make of that game yet because Tyrod Taylor did great for the Texans last week.
My man with my
the Jaguars, bro.
Hey, I said it was against the Jag. Now they go up against the Browns this week, so I don't know if Tyrod even going to be healthy for that game against the Panthers, but we'll see.
No needles, Coach. No needles.
Right? Yeah, no. He's like, no, stay away from me. All right, gents, it's been a pleasure, and we will see y'all next week. Y'all have a good night.
Peace.